Ooh, this is exotic. Muscle Cat Media. Nice. Cultural.
What's up, everybody? Heading into the weekend, which means it's time for the weekend pickoff here on the Baseball Expats. Hope everybody is having an outstanding week. It's been an interesting week of baseball, and I'm joined by two guys who often do tend to shower fully clothed when things aren't going their way. Eric and Spoon, boys, how are we?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, boys. I have not watched a heap of MLB this week. I've watched a few highlights. I watched a couple Jays games, but I have been covering the Senior League Championships for Baseball Australia. And you got to call a couple games, Rolsey, and
I got to call one. I called one game.
But it felt like 7.
It took 7.5 hours, yes. So it felt like...
What was crazy is my favorite was Luke Eisenhower, who called a game yesterday. He was just like... Andrew Reynolds called a game yesterday that lasted 7.5 hours, but that one had a rain delay, and this one's pushing 5. There have been some long games in this. I have no idea what's going on. So I've been working 15-hour days watching. Well, you can use whatever adjective you want. I don't think I legally can, but we'll just say
unique baseball.
Unique baseball. But we've got some good tournament scenarios in games. So like now that it's to the pointy end, it's actually quite exciting. But my goodness, the long days. I've gone crazy. Yesterday, I ran around my house to try to get some exercise because I couldn't leave without being near a computer. And I ran for like 20 minutes from my downstairs left corner upstairs into my room and back and just wanted to get some stair exercise. And my dog was losing her mind. Like she was chasing me. She was excited. And then, yeah. Anyways, I've got the tournament crazies.
Sounds like you're back to COVID times. So if you've been unplugged from the world of Major League Baseball, am I referencing you and Spoon showering fully clothed not make any sense to you?
No, it doesn't. But I'm now completely thrown off because you've just sent me an invoice during recording of this podcast.
Yeah, I scheduled that. I scheduled that yesterday. I didn't realize that we'd be doing that today. That's
I thought it comes as I was talking about Senior League. Like literally, it came in 1 minute after I said you called a game yesterday, and then I got an email notification that said Senior League commentary invoice from Andrew Reynolds.
I
thought you were just like, oh yeah.
Spoon's going to give us some picks at the end of this episode, so if you can go ahead and get that paid before the afternoon is over, that would be
I'm going to send it on right now, but it's kind of funny because...
Would you like to fill Eric in on what the hell I was talking about in terms of men showering fully clothed when they're having a bad day?
Yeah, that was the Cal Raleigh slump buster. He showered in his uniform and then came out and hit a single the next day, and then the team decided that wasn't enough of a slump break and put him on a Phantom IL. I mean, maybe he actually has hurt his oblique, but those who listened to the last episode when we did our all slump team, I did say I think Raleigh needs a trip to the IL, real or otherwise, and that's what's happened today.
You made a good point about someone we probably missed for the slump team.
Ohtani?
Yeah.
He's come out, like, I don't know if you saw his comments today, but he came out and said, this is who I am. I'm going to be hot. I'm going to be cold, but it's still on me as an individual. What's funny about it, though, is he's got like the best ERA in the National League, sub 1. But because his OPS is 750, we're talking about him as potentially not being that guy right now. It does create some interesting award discussion, right? Because his ERA is so good, but he's nowhere near the NL Cy Young betting because he doesn't get enough starts. He's still $1.30 for the NL MVP. But there's a guy like Matt Olson who has been really good. Continue to close the gap if Ohtani's, pitching once every 6 days or whatever it is, but he's just like a league average bat. He's been better than league average, but he's trending that direction.
I think two things can be true. One, yeah, the gap does close, but also this also almost helps Ohtani in a way if you're wanting to bet on awards, not that you ever get a value with Ohtani. But if you think about it this way, the MVP is such a narrative award, right? Like we don't really start talking about it until what did you do for me lately in August and September. If Ohtani goes off in July or August, like we know he can, and he just gets his numbers up to a 30 home run season with 90 RBIs with a 1.5 ERA, he's the MVP.
Yeah, when Rolsey and I talked awards on one of the preview shows preseason, Ohtani was like $1.60, and we kind of had the conversation jokingly, at what point of the season will he get above $2? And obviously that hasn't happened yet, and he's $1.30 now, so there's kind of no indication that that's going to happen. But I guess to your point, if that price did pop up at any stage, if he slumps for a couple more weeks and you get a 2 in front of it, I think it's probably time to pile in.
I think I was also on the record as saying how outrageous it was that he was even in the Cy Young market. I think those were words that came out of my mouth because, and look, it may still be outrageous, and there's no reason to rehash old wounds, but it just always felt like that if Ohtani is going to be good enough to win a Cy Young, he's going to win the MVP, and he's just not going to win the Cy Young because even if he is the greatest pitcher in the league, he's still going to have at least better than slightly above average hitting statistics. And it feels like he's just going to win the MVP. So I just always felt like it was stealing people's money by having him in the Cy Young voting, even though I think he was, Spoon, you may remember, I think he was 25-1 or something. It wasn't like he
Yeah,
was.
well, he's into 650. He's kind of equal third favorite right now,
so
which I think is crazy.
Egg on my face, basically.
But with the innings he's going to pitch, I just don't think it's possible. Like he's not going to hit 200 innings like a Paul Skeens, a Christopher Sanchez, a Chris Sale. There's a lot of guys I like a lot more. Shota Imanaga is $23, by the way, boys. That's worth sprinkling a little bit of bonus cash on if you can.
What's Chris Sanchez at?
$5, second fave.
Yeah, that makes sense. He's unreal, man.
Yamamoto 23s as well. I mean, like I'd rather have a little bit on Shota and Yamamoto than Ohtani at that price, just because, at what point of this hitting slump do they say we're going to get you to skip your next start? Like so much has to go right for Ohtani to even get close as far as a volume of work in season 2026 compared to the guys who are just pitching. I think 650 is gross unders, and I still agree with Rolsey's preseason call.
Well, look, I want to talk about maybe continue the theme, not exactly of guys that are slumping, but on this Friday, I just want to make sure you guys are still on your toes. So I want to quiz you a bit. And we will get to an update in Destiny Draft. If you haven't visited the scoreboard on baseballexpats.com, definitely do that. But we will recap Destiny Draft. We'll even hear from Grom here in just a little bit. But I wanted to ask you guys a question. I think you'll get these three guys, but I'm curious to know whether or not you can get them quickly. So what are we, 6 weeks or so into the big league season? There's 120 players that have had at least 160 plate appearances. So 120 players. There are only 3 of those that have yet to hit a home run. Now we know who one of those guys is. We've talked about him within the last week. But Spoon, you sound pretty confident that you can get all 3 in one fell swoop.
I know all 3. Eric, do you want to go?
I'm going to say 2 we've talked about on this pod recently, so I'm pretty confident in saying Tatis and Chandler Simpson.
Right. Yep.
And then the other one, I probably need to think about this.
He's actually having a decent season. And I mean,
he's
not
over 300.
Yeah, is it Luis Arias?
That's exactly who it is.
That's a great question. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have got it if we didn't talk about Chandler Simpson on the pod like 5 days ago. And Spoon hasn't been calling Vladdy the new Arias for the last whatever. Those guys are on my mind.
And we put Nando in our all slump outfield, talking to that point as well.
Yeah.
Have you looked at Fernando Tatis' slugging percentage?
No.
It's not that he's not just hitting home runs. Like, he's not getting extra base hits. His slugging percentage is lower than his on-base percentage. His slugging percentage
his hard hit rate is like the
298.
best of his career.
Yeah.
But
it's like so many of those guys that we've talked about that are barreling balls and just not getting the results. But his slugging percentage is 298 through 41 games. He has 38 hits. Only 6 of them have gone for extra bases.
Wow.
It's a launch angle problem from what I understand. He's just like, I saw a comment that said the worms get terrified when Tatis comes up to bat because he's just like smoking the ball into the ground.
Well, and based on that inside the park Little League home run that JJ hit against him last week, I think the worms in the outfield get upset whenever a ground ball comes his way because it trickles all the way to the outfield wall. So he's not doing the worms any favors, whether he's at the plate or he's in the field. Well, look, let's have a quick look at the scoreboard for Destiny Draft. And before we do, let's hear from our man Grom, because we haven't heard from him in the last week since he picked his team. And if you were with us on Monday, you remember that he took a pretty big risk, and he may be paying for that risk. Let's hear from Grom now.
Hey fellas, it's Grom here. Just a quick update on the Destiny draft team. Look, in hindsight, I possibly should have prosecuted the rules a little bit more closely. Picking two high strikeout guys may have in fact not been the play. Love my boy James Wood, but 6 Ks through I think 3 outings now through Friday is not looking great. But, I have full faith. I think Chris Bassett gets the start, hopefully, on Sunday. And, look, I think at this point, probably the only thing that can resurrect me is some sort of record-breaking 20 Ks, complete game shutout kind of performance. Otherwise, as Eric kind of pointed out to me earlier, I think my score would be leading the PGA Championship at the moment. So, look, things are looking grim, and I'm not saying they're going to get any better, but let's see how we go.
Well, boys, Grom his score would be leading the PGA Championship after one round right now at 4 under par. He'd have a 1-stroke lead heading into Friday. Unfortunately, that puts him well behind everybody else. But dude, that scoreboard you built on baseballexpats.com is so sick. I really enjoy it. I've definitely been going to it way too much just to check in how guys are doing. Mainly it's just the Riley Green show because that's who's on my team. I think the coolest thing that you did is you had like the undrafted leaderboard, which is awesome, right? Like now we're all kind of like, oh, why didn't we draft Gavin Sheets? Like
Luis Garcia Jr. Yeah, Gavin Sheets and Luis Garcia Jr. this past week with 9 total points. Look, we'll run through the points top to bottom. Eric has a 1-point lead with 9 points. He's certainly been led by Riley Green, who has 8 of his 9 points. He was 2 for 3 again today with a run scored. I'm sitting on 8 points, which have been led by Bryce Terang. Weirdly enough, I'm the only one with any pitcher points. Cal Quantrill threw an inning in relief yesterday and did get a strikeout. And what turned out to be a pretty big moment in that game because the Rangers came back and walked off against the D-backs. Sorry, Spoon. Spoon's team is sitting at 5 points. Corbin Carroll leading the way there with 6, and Gabby Moreno -1, and Grom, as mentioned. James Wood, 6 strikeouts this week, have him at -3. Corey Seager's got 3 strikeouts. He's at -1. But it's a big weekend for both Grom and you, I think, Spoon, because Jacob deGrom's going for you and Chris Bassett is going for Grom. So we could see a pretty big jump in points.
I can't believe a guy called Grom didn't take Jacob deGrom. Like he had the first pick. It was right there.
We gave him a second first pick. He took a different dude, and we're like, oh, that guy's on the IL. Take anybody else you want. And he still didn't take him.
It's called Destiny Draft, and he didn't take someone with the same name as his nickname. It's going to be a really interesting weekend. My guys, my double D-backs sounds a little bit dirty, head for a weekend series at Coors, which was part of the reason, on top of the fact that I love my Arizona Diamondbacks, behind picking them. There's 7 games coming up against the Rockies in the next 10 days. 3 or 4 of those are at Coors. So I'm hoping to see some hits. I'm hoping to see some runs. And then, a good Jacob deGrom start, anything like his last start of 10 strikeouts, no runs, will catapult me pretty quickly. Are we going to see a David Peterson appearance at all? We were lucky enough to see Cal Quantrill pitch, lucky or unlucky, depending on how you look at it. But I think a David Peterson, like long relief appearance, could really swing the needle for the way Eric's going right now.
Well, I hope
we don't
drafted him. The hope was that he would just kind of get buried. We were talking about it. If you want to have a look at and I encourage you to maybe pull it up while you're listening to the pod, baseballexpats.com. On the homepage, you can click on Destiny Draft. There were so many pitchers that were on the IL, and if you scroll to the bottom of the page, you can see the guys that are injured. It's like, I feel like I might as well have just taken like Glasnow or Logan Webb just to not have to deal with having any points. I was kind of on a knife's edge the other day when Cal Quantrill came in. I was watching a different game, and Spoon sort of sent alert emojis and saying that there was a Cal Quantrill sighting, and I've never been more trepidatious in turning a game over to watch a relief pitcher throw. And he made it interesting because he put 2 on with 2 outs, and it could have the pendulum could have swung at that point, but he got a strikeout to get me a point. So it's the fun of Destiny Draft, and it's good to know that Grom is sort of following along and having a bit of fun. And for any listener who wants to get involved and get around it, make sure you let us know. You can get in touch with us via the website or do so via Twitter or Instagram because, look, Grom's not the end-all be-all for the listeners. If he digs a hole, it's not to say that the listeners can't pull themselves out of it at some point.
Is there a podcast on the entire internet that's talked about Cal Quantrill more in the month of May than we have? Like this guy...
Outside of Seattle?
We don't work on commission for like name dropping or anything like that. We're choosing to keep mentioning Cal Quantrill.
He is a better than fair chance when he retires to be the fourth member of this podcast, which we'd be happy to have him. I'm not sure how qualified he is to be a baseball expat, but neither is Spoon. So,
well, he's Canadian.
I travel enough that I get like citizenship.
Eric's normally the one that's claiming citizenships all around the world. Look, before we get to Spoon's picks, just in theme with Destiny Draft, and again, do head to baseballexpats.com and check out the scoreboard because it's a bit of fun. And again, if any listeners out there want to get involved and want to be the guest picker for the listener spot the next time we do a Destiny Draft, just hit us up on the website or on social media. Before we get to Spoon's picks, I've already done one quiz, and you boys both nailed it. I want to see if you can name the player on each of your respective teams that would be the top Destiny Draft player for 2026 and the worst Destiny Draft player for 2026. So keeping the same scoring system, if you're imagining that hitters have the same scoring system, pitchers have the same scoring system, do you think you could name the best and worst of each on your respective teams? Spoon, I'm going to start with you.
I don't think it's Corbin Carroll because I feel like that's a trick question. I feel like he'll be second. So I'm going to go a little bit niche and say it would be Ildemaro Vargas because he had a 20-something hit game and he doesn't strike out a lot and he was scoring off the back of a lot of those hits. So
ding, ding.
Bang.
Who's the worst? Qualified players, the worst of qualified players. And Ildemaro Vargas, actually, of any player on any of our teams, has the highest point total. He would have 80 Destiny Draft points to this point during the season.
Wow. Is the worst guy now a Dodger?
No, he would not have been qualified.
Okay. I'm trying to think. I mean, half the lineup right now has come back in recently, like Moreno and Gurriel, so they're probably not in the hunt.
162 plate appearances, a guy that you were awfully high on at the start of the season.
Is it Perdomo?
It is Perdomo. He would have 35.
He's been striking out a lot. He's been having some, really uncharacteristic at-bats, and the ribbies aren't sort of trickling along as I hoped either. So it's not a surprise. I was thinking it'd be him or Cattell, but Cattell's at least gotten a hold of enough home runs that, a solo shot's 3 in Destiny Draft. Anyone on gets you more than that. Perdomo's not even really doing that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised based on the eye test, but I'm surprised based on what I know or think he is as a player.
What have you got for pitchers?
Oh, so we're doing each position, hitter and pitcher?
Oh, yeah.
Best is probably going to be Soroka, and worst would be Ryan Nelson.
Soroka is the best, 51 points, 43 in a third inning, 47 strikeouts, just the 17 earned runs. The worst is not Ryan Nelson. Your worst pitcher
Kelly
has 23 points. It's not Merrill Kelly either.
Is it a reliever?
It's not.
Is it Zach Gallen?
It's Zach Gallen because of the low strikeout numbers.
Interesting.
Yeah, that kind of tracks. I mean, I don't think he's gone past 5 all season. And he's kind of consistently giving up 2 or 3 earned runs and getting through 5. So your average Zach Gallen outing from a Destiny Draft perspective right now is probably 2 points.
Yeah, so Soroka leads the Diamondbacks in this fictitious season-long Destiny Draft. He'd have 51 points, and Zach Gallen would have only 23. You feel like you could get a high strikeout pitcher that goes innings that could probably score 23 points in a 2-week period, but Zach Gallen, through 43 innings, has only amassed a total of 23 points. And look, a lot of that has to do because of the low strikeout numbers, and he has allowed 27 earned runs. So when you start to allow that amount of earned runs, the points start to tick down quite quickly. All right, Eric, you're up. You want to start with hitters or pitchers?
Well, I want to start with the best. I think I can name the best for both hitter and pitcher, but the worst is going to be the challenge. Can I do it that way?
You can do whatever you like.
All right. The best hitter, I'm going to say, is Vladdy because he doesn't strike out heaps and he hits a lot.
Correct. 66 points for Vladimir Guerrero.
The best pitcher would be Dylan Cease because he strikes out a lot and doesn't allow a lot of runs, and he goes moderately deep into games.
He could be the best pitcher in baseball Like he could be the best player in Destiny Draft in 2026.
Dylan Cease is the best of all three teams combined, of our three teams combined. He
What
would
does he
be the
got?
best pitcher of St. Louis, Arizona, and Toronto. He is sitting at, well, I've just lost my place. He's sitting at 87 points. And yeah, a lot of that has to do with his 75 strikeouts and just the 14 earned runs that he's allowed so far.
Now, the worst is hard because the Jays have had so many guys in and out of the lineup. So, like, my first thought went to Barger, but I don't know if he qualifies because he struck out a lot. He has like 2 hits on the year, but he's only played 9 games. So, like, is there a threshold in how many games you have to qualify?
Yeah, well, it's whatever the MLB qualification is. I think it's what?
Right, so he's out.
3.5 plate appearances per games played or something like that.
So is Springer in the mix?
It's not Springer.
He wouldn't qualify. He wouldn't
The
be good, though.
strikeouts are what is killing this guy. He's
Not
already
Okamoto.
He's already at 50 this season.
Varsho?
It's Okamoto. 50 strikeouts is what's absolutely killing him.
Which is crazy because he's got good power numbers.
36 points, which isn't awful when you consider some of the others. Perdomo is at 35, so Okamoto is sitting at 36. And we get to the Cardinals in a second, their lowest players, 10 points less than Yap. But yeah, I mean, it's the 50 strikeouts and the 177 plate appearances that's killing Okamoto. So he is the lowest among qualified position players for the Jays. What about
pitcher Lauer?
What's James Wood's season numbers?
I'd have to look him up.
He could be negative on the season, right?
There's a very good chance that he could.
He's homered once or twice already this week, and he's still in the negative for Grom. This is kind of like, this isn't a bad week. This is him as a player.
We'll pull up his numbers while Eric's guessing the
Is it Eric Lauer for the Jays pitcher?
It is not Eric Lauer.
Really?
His numbers are actually decent. He just happens to be the worst among qualified pitchers for the Jays. Yeah, it's Kevin Gossman.
Yeah, just the strikeouts going down.
48 strikeouts, 22 earned runs in his 51 and 1/3 innings. So yeah, no, you guys did pretty well at that. I'll give you the Cardinals.
Can I guess the Cardinals?
Well, I've already looked them up.
Jordan
Oddly
Walker,
enough, the best.
Jordan Walker's the best, right? For the Cardinals?
No, the best is Alec Burleson at 67 points.
Wow. Where's Walker sneak in?
I'd have to look it up. I just did best and worst on each. Nolan Gorman is the worst for St. Louis. He's on just 26 points, but again, it's because he's just striking out so much. 45 strikeouts.
I think Eric and I just figured you'd expanded this dashboard privately, and you could just type in anyone's name. And
I would assume that too.
This is my second genie wish, is we can now pump in any number.
Can I guess the Cardinals pitchers?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Best is McGreevy.
Yep.
And the worst is what? Eric Fetty?
Dustin May has to be the worst.
Eric Fetty no longer. I don't know. Is Eric Fetty still in Major League Baseball? He no longer.
I don't know.
A White Sox player.
Shows how much I was going with the Cardinals there.
The Cardinals' worth is actually Matthew Liberatore. But the gap for the Cardinals pitchers, I mean, this says a lot about Cardinals pitching, actually. This is quite interesting that their best pitcher's at 49 points and their worst pitcher's at 39 points. So it's just that they don't have a lot of high strikeout guys. And I mean, they're all eating innings, but they just don't have a lot of high strikeout guys. So when you allow runs, it's heavily crucial in terms of negating Destiny draft points. Have you been able to look up James Wood, Spoon?
Yeah, I've got it here. So 39 hits, 36 runs, that's 75, 29 RBIs, that's 104. And then he has already struck out 64 times, so 40. It's not great. For a guy who's hit, 12 home runs, it's not great. If you get at least 3 per home run, he's basically like everything else is washed out, right? Like all his points are on home runs, and any other hit or run or walk into run or whatever has been cancelled out by the strikeouts, which does track. He struck out 221 times last year, the most in the majors.
Well, I think that's why it's fun to do things like this, because I think it explains why the scoring system that you've come up with in this is quite fair. Because if you catch James Wood in a 2-week stretch where he's not striking out and he's lacing the ball, then you're going to get
when is that
rewarded for it. Well, it has happened, but it may happen over a week period. Whether or not you get it to happen over a 2-week period, we're sort of letting Grom be the guinea pig on that. But it kind of evens things out, right? Because at 40 points, that kind of makes him a middle of the road offensive guy from a Destiny draft standpoint through the first 6 weeks of the season.
Dude, James Wood literally cost me the Destiny draft title last year.
Grom should have learned from your mistakes, or in his
He
words,
had a
should have known
2 week
what the
stint.
rules were.
He had a 2 week stint, the second 2 weeks of April, where he was just raking. He hit 5 home runs in 2 weeks. He had 15 runs, 11 hits, so 26, 10 RBIs, 36, and he struck out 24 times, so 12 in a fortnight. That's probably as good as it gets, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you compare that to guys like Gavin Sheets and Luis Garcia Jr., who were in the pack that weren't picked, who have had 9 points in 5 days. So clearly, look, guys that strike out a lot are guys you want to avoid. But like we say, if they get on a hot streak, it's good to have them. Just before we get to the picks, I've got one more. Do you think you can name the best and worst in all of Major League Baseball?
Pitcher and hitter. Was the best pitcher not Dylan Cease?
The best was not Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease was at 87 points. The best in baseball is at 93.
Paul Skeens?
It's not
Paul
Skeens,
Skeens.
but you're on the right track.
Then Christopher Sanchez.
No. Still on the right track.
Cam
Schlittler?
Ryan Zephyr-Johns?
I was going to say friend of the podcast right before you said Ryan Zephyr-John. It is a friend of the podcast, but it is not Ryan Zephyr-John.
Schlittler?
No. It's the young guy that you thought you ended his season a couple weeks ago on the Bad Juju pod.
Oh, Mizorowski, yeah, that tracks. He's had like 5 starts of 10 strikeouts or more, or something like that. He's getting deep into games, doesn't really give up any runs, got a 2.0 ERA.
Yeah, 51 innings.
Tracks.
He's an inning shy of having 94 points. 51 innings, 80 strikeouts, 12 earned runs. So he's the best pitcher. I don't think there's any way you're going to guess the worst pitcher.
I might guess the worst.
Go on.
Because he's the 5th member of the Fade 5 that when I gave a shout out to the Canary a few weeks ago, I couldn't even remember his name. And then he kind of haunted me about it. Is it Simeon Woods Richardson from the Minnesota Twins?
No, but that is so niche.
That's a great guess.
I'll put you out of your misery. It's Michael Lorenzen of the Rockies on 21 points.
He had such a good, what's it called? That tournament that I went to, WBC.
What's that soccer thing where all the countries play?
44 innings, 31 strikeouts, and 32 earned runs. He's given up more runs than he has strikeouts. So his point total has come solely on the amount of innings that he's been able to pitch.
Woods Richardson has 36 earned runs and 20 strikeouts.
Is that good?
That's not good. And he's pitched 42 innings in 9 starts. So he's averaging like under 4 innings per start. How is he not the worst guy? Is he not qualified on innings?
Maybe he's not qualified. How many innings has he pitched?
42.
Interesting. Well, maybe he is the worst guy. How many strikeouts? How many earned runs?
By the algorithm.
That's how bad he is.
He doesn't even exist.
Pitcher in baseball.
Major League Baseball has wiped him from the API.
36 earned runs is the most of any player in baseball. He has 20 strikeouts in 42 innings for a 4.3 K per night. Every single start, his line is 3.5, and my mate just puts his rent check on the under and collects.
I reckon the 42 innings must be what's doing it, because everyone I'm seeing here is at 43 1/3 and above. So I reckon he's.
So he might not qualify.
He's just under the eligibility threshold.
Okay, that tracks. Best hitter.
Which is crazy that somebody that's not eligible is the worst.
You haven't pitched enough.
Like the extra 2 innings is going to bring him off the bottom. And I mean, he would be considerably worse. So if Michael Lorenzen is the second worst at 21 points, and you're saying he essentially would have negative figures, that's the gulf between the worst and the second worst right now. So he's
what would he need to do to not? What does his next start need to be to qualify and not be the worst?
So he's on 42 innings. That's 21 points on innings, and he's got 20 strikeouts. So that's 41 minus 36 earned runs. He's on 5 points. So he'd have to strike out 12 in a 6-inning start and not allow an earned run. And I think he'd be Michael Lorenzen territory. That's a dark sentence, boys.
If you don't think that we're not going to be tracking his next start just to see what he does, you're crazy. Spoon might have a tickle on it. He may do the opposite of what you're meant to do for the Fade 5. All right, look, let's wrap this up before we get to the picks. Do you think you can give me the hitters?
Sorry, did we do position players?
No, let's do it now.
Is the best hitter potentially Luis Arias?
It is not.
Vladdy.
This guy's got
I mean,
86 points. So, I mean, Ildemaro Vargas of the D-backs, 80 points. So he was 6 points away from being the best Destiny draft player in the first 6 weeks of the season.
I mean, the top guys still strike out a lot, right? Yordan Alvarez and Aaron Judge strike out probably too much to be in the conversation. I wanted to say Alvarez, but he is prone to a strikeout or two. Is it Matt Olson?
It is not Matt Olson. It's in the same division, and it's very niche. I'll give you his figures. He just qualifies in plate appearances at 151. He's got 39 hits, has scored 21 runs, driven in 38, and he's only struck out 12 times. It's a team that you're very high on
Edwards?
For the future. No, but you're close.
Otto Lopez.
No.
It's a fish, right?
It's a fish.
Go fish. Who's the third guy? Oh, they've got 3 guys.
You're all over it, like a bad smell.
Yeah.
It's Liam Hicks.
There. Liam Hicks. Yeah, they got 3 guys batting 300.
Wild that Liam Hicks would be the top player in this scoring system through the first 6 weeks of the season.
That's why it's better than normal fantasy baseball, boys.
And just to put a bow on it and to wrap this whole thing up in a nice, tight little box for Christmas, you've got to get this, and you've got to get it quickly. The worst player.
It's not James Wood.
The podcast is going to come full circle.
It's not James Wood.
Who did we talk about at the top of the show?
Ohtani?
Oh, Cal Raleigh.
No.
Cal Raleigh would have 3 points after 6
Oh
weeks.
my
If
God.
he didn't shower in his uniform, he'd have negative points.
On the season? Wow.
That's a good day for Bryce Turang.
So I think what we've determined is the Destiny draft scoring system is the best way to determine the most valuable players and least valuable players in all of Major League Baseball. We will step aside for just a moment. On the other side, Spoon's going to give us some picks. Eric's going to pay my invoice, and I'm going to try and win some money on the weekend. We'll be back after this. Back on the expats, getting you set for the weekend. Spoon has a couple of tips that he likes for Saturday here in Australia. And Spoon, for your first tip, we're going to go to the Toronto-Detroit matchup tomorrow. What do you like?
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of good games to choose from tomorrow, and I kind of had to filter down to get to 2 to chat about on the pod. We had a good couple of winners on Tuesday, the Skeen strikeout and win play, as well as I think it was $1.95, but I said it should be $1.60, and it kind of was. I mean, he was brilliant. And then the other one was Freddie Peralta and the win. It kind of looked like he wasn't going to go back out there and get his 6th and then his 7th. So he kind of bucked the trend a little bit there, and the Mets gave him another inning when he was already on 88 or 89 pitches after 6. So nice little cash there for those who listened on Tuesday. I wanted to whittle this one down and put it in because Eric's a Blue Jays fan and he's just jumped off the pod right before, but that's okay. I still like the play. I thought it was crazy that we're getting even money tomorrow about Trey Savage for 6 or more strikeouts against the Tigers. He's making his 4th start now since the delayed start to the season, and he's been ramping up in pitch count through that. And if you look at his starts, he had a really good outing of 5.1 innings on just 74 pitches against the Red Sox, just 3 strikeouts. But since then, in back-to-back starts, he's picked up 6 strikeouts. And the pitch counts jumped from 74 to 82, and then from 82 to 87. So I think there's a really good chance we're going to see 90 to 95 tomorrow from him, depending on the situation of the game. And the way he's been generating swing and miss has been really impressive. He's 90th percentile in chase rate in his 3 outings so far. And that's converted to 77th percentile in strikeout rate. The Tigers are doing a little bit better than they have in recent years as far as where they sit on the strikeout leaderboards. I mean, this is a team that's consistently bottom 3. They're 17th on the year this season. But everything from Trey suggests that he's kind of picking up from where he left off. And it won't surprise me at all if we see him tomorrow not just get the 6, but nudge those numbers like 8. And you can get 5-1 about 8 strikeouts. So I'm pretty keen on Trey tomorrow. I think he's going to be generating that swing and miss, and his stuff's looked really good in all 3 starts.
Interesting pitching matchup in that game, too, with Ty Madden going for the Tigers. So that should be a fun watch. And yeah, I'm with you. Surprised that you're getting even money at 6 or more. Perhaps the Blue Jays being on the road maybe is bringing that number up slightly. So you savage for 6 or more tomorrow in the Toronto-Detroit game. For your second best pick, we're going to Atlanta. Red Sox and Braves. What do you like there?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. I mean, the starter for the Braves is, I think, one of the more exciting younger pitching talents in baseball right now that probably doesn't get talked about a lot because we've got so many great arms coming through right now. But Connolly Early's been really good. I mean, his limited time we saw him last season, he was great. He had a great postseason start against the Yankees. And he's kind of picked up where he's left off this year. He's got an ERA of 3.16. The strikeout stuff isn't quite there yet, but I really liked what I saw from him last outing. He struck out 8 against the Rays, and the Rays actually have been the second best strikeout prevention team in baseball this year. So that's a really good sign for me. I like what I saw there. He had 30 combined swinging strikes and looking strikes, and he didn't give up an earned run in 7 innings. He also hit 96 pitches, which is the highest of his career. So all signs really good for Connolly Early. The Atlanta matchup's tough. I mean, they're 9th in baseball for strikeouts, but if he can do it against Tampa, I think he can do it against the Braves. So I've got him for 4 tomorrow. And then in a same-game multi, I've got Spencer Strider for 6. Spencer Strider has looked to be coming back to what he was before. I think he's a double Tommy John now. And he's not quite qualified to be a firm ranking on some of these percentiles, but his whiff and his K rate are right up there in the top 5% of baseball. He struck out 14 in his 9 innings in 2 starts since coming back from the injured list. And the most recent start, he struck out 8 Dodgers on the road. 6 innings, 1 hit, 0 earned runs. Got up to 91 pitches. Again, like the other 2 guys I just mentioned, all things heading in a really good trajectory for him. Strikeouts, pitch count, swinging strikes, looking strikes. I love all of it. And the Red Sox are a team you can take on from a strikeout perspective as well. So Spencer Strider, 6 strikeouts, Connolly Early, 4 strikeouts, and you're getting $2.05 for that one.
So same game multi for Early and Strider. What are you expecting the combined numbers will be in the market for those 2 tomorrow?
So looking at their lines, I think it was 6.5 and 5.5. So you'd probably be getting $1.80 for 12 and about $2.20 for 13, which would be a good way to play it, I think, because of the upside of Strider. As much as Early, just came off that 8 strikeout start, I don't see him striking out 8 Braves. The Braves have just been a formidable offense all year. But he could get 5 or 6 and clear that part of the same game multi. Spencer Strider has no ceiling as far as what he can do from a strikeout point of view. I think his career high strikeouts is 16 in a game against the Rockies a couple of years ago, and he's already picking up where he's left off with a really lively fastball that I think a lot of Boston hitters will be chasing. So I think it's going to be a good way to play that too. Keep an eye out on Twitter and socials for those markets when they come, because we might be topping up that way.
Yeah, that was sort of my thought, is that, if Early does let you down, Strider just has that ability to, at any point you feel like if his stuff's on, he can be a 10, 11, 12 strikeout guy in any given start. So, yeah, no, I like that as a hedge play. So taking Early 4 or more, Strider 6 or more in a same game multi, but definitely keep an eye out, Spoon, on Twitter to see what the plays are tomorrow morning. Well, Spoon, you were outstanding on this podcast, I must say, my friend. Your guessing ability, you could go on Baseball Jeopardy and you would do just fine. Eric, on the other hand, can't make it to the end of the show, so I don't know what we're.
Yeah, you can tell that his comment of I haven't watched any baseball this week was not the case for me. I've watched a lot of baseball, and I'm still scouring through the depths of Reddit and individual team subreddits and all that kind of stuff to stay tuned in. So yeah, you gotta get up pretty early to beat me with a trivia question these days.
Well, I find that it's always a really good way to endear yourself to an audience by immediately telling them that you have watched nothing and have not been following for the last week as you get ready to talk about it for a half an hour. But if you enjoyed the pod, do tell your friends about it, like and subscribe. And again, follow along with Destiny Draft at baseballexpats.com. This weekend, we will be back next Tuesday with another episode. But until then, enjoy your weekend, enjoy your baseball. Bye, everybody.